Morning if you're watching the replay. All right. So let's see if y'all can see me and we will get the show on the road here because it's been an interesting day, huh? All right. So waiting for my screen there. Finley says 5x5. My screen comes up. Jacob, Renee, Mortimer, Lorna, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Healthy Disrespect, Lucky Dame, Good Grandma Prepper. You guys can all see me. Welcome to Tuesday. Welcome to Trump's arraignment day. Welcome to pleading innocent on 37 counts. Welcome to the day that even the Democrats are going, crap, we fucked up. Pardon my French. Interesting to see what's going on is the circular firing squad today on the liberal news. And everybody going, oh my God, this is blowing up in our face. This isn't going to work. He's going to be found innocent. All this is doing is rallying his troops, and it's taking the moderates, the independents, even the Democrats, not the liberals and the progressives, because there's like three stages of being left. Democrats are still rational thinking human beings. Liberals and progressives are idiots. And they're going, oh my God, we're losing. It's like, yeah, dumbass. What you think was going to happen? You can't charge a guy for a crime he didn't commit. But yeah, so interesting. But that was the big thing. So it's funny because as soon as Trump left the arraignment today, I guess he got on a plane for a fundraising dinner, and lots of people show up. Joe can't get anybody to show up unless they're bouncing fake boobs around on the White House lawn. Like I said this morning, the bravest people he ever know. Thanks, Joe. I signed that check. They didn't. But yeah, so that was the interesting part of the day today to see what was going on with Trump's arraignment. I couldn't find out. It was very hard to find any video of the protesters. I mean, I heard the chief of police in Miami said they were expecting somewhere between 5 and 50,000 protesters, and it's a pretty big range. Think about applying for a job, and they say, yeah, we're going to pay you somewhere between $5,000 and $50,000 a year. Yeah, that might be a little, it's kind of like the weatherman going, yeah, there's a 50% chance of rain today. It means it might rain, it might not. Okay, got it. That was about it. But yeah, I mean, even if it was 5,000 protesters at the courthouse today, that'd still be, I don't know, 4,000 times as many people as Joe can get for a political rally. Remember 2020? We have our chairs 6 feet apart, and we've got 14 empty chairs out of the 20 people. Hi, I'm Joe Biden. Is that my name? Yeah, okay. Dr. Jill, please help. I don't know which end of the stage to go off of. Moron. So, yeah, just interesting. So that was the big thing today. Around here, it was, harvest some cabbage today, harvest some beets today. Actually got a few green peppers because my pepper plants, like a lot of you guys, still small, maybe 12 to 18 inches high. Had some peppers on them. I want the plants to grow so they can get more peppers. So I'm taking those off. Been harvesting onions, replanted my lima beans where the rabbits took them all out. So did that today. Learned some new skills this week. We'll get into that probably later this week. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. Now it's time for me, now that I've got the work done around the house, and I told you guys it was June 1st. That was my deadline for getting my projects done. Now it's time to work on some skills that I don't have. And so that's what I've been focusing this week on. And so far, so good. Let's put it that way. I'm learning things. Thursday, I'm going to finally get out and take my Scorpion out and get that all zeroed, do all that. We're going to head up to the rifle range and do some weapons training. Zero some weapons, get some things taken care of that need to be done. And yeah, that was my plan for the second half of summer, is getting some training in. So some education, learning some new skills, and some training. good idea for everybody to do. I got my work done. Obviously I'm still picking vegetables or watering or weeding, but nothing major. So that's what's going on here. So, all right. There's the update to what's going on at the Pinball Homestead and whatever's going on with you guys. I hope the gardens are looking well. I hope the animals are doing well. I hope it was a nice day for y'all. It was 75 and sunny today. You couldn't ask for a better day today. It was beautiful outside. So doing a lot of that. To those of you guys up in Kentucky, took a nice long road trip to Barberville today. That was hour and a half north of me, so had to go up there. Was there for 10 seconds, turned around and drove all the way back. So had to pick something up. But that was the excitement there. All right, so let's get into some Q&A. Let's have some fun, please. So I'm going to go over the rules here real quick, guys. If you got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Most of you guys know this by now. For those of you that are new, just like every other YouTube channel, I'm trying to read all the comments as fast as I can. If they're in caps, I know they're questions directed at me. What I ask of y'all, if you've got questions, please follow the chat. There's 1,000 very intelligent people in here. Probably a couple of idiots, but they'll leave pretty soon. Listen to their answers too. I don't have all the answers. I've never professed to. There's a lot of things I'm an expert at. There's a lot of things I'm a total noob at, okay? And I learn from you guys as much as you do from me, so I go through and read these comments later as well, because there's a lot of questions I'm like, okay, I want to see how somebody else answered it. Remember, there's not, in anything in life, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so just because I have one answer doesn't mean it's the only answer. Now, if I tell you the sky is blue, okay, unless you're a liberal, you'll agree with me. But, how do I milk a cow? How do I fertilize my gardens? What do I do if I've got fleas on my dogs? Whatever. I mean, there's going to be all sorts of different answers, okay? There's multiple ways to do this. Listen to the rest of the community. They've always got good answers in there too, okay? And there's a lot of things that you guys have suggested to me over the years that I've put in place because they were better ideas than what I was already doing, okay? So, use the collective knowledge of the whole community. So follow the chat along as we go. The only thing I do require of everybody, guys, please keep it civil, all right? We're a community, we're a family, we're here for fellowship, we're here for a little bit of fun. Just be nice to each other. If you guys disagree, that's cool, okay? Everybody's got different opinions. Again, there's more than one way to skin a cat, okay? But you don't skin a cat, go, no, idiot, that's not the way you do it. You do it this way. That's, or worse. Be polite, be friendly. Got a different idea, present your idea. Maybe somebody takes it, maybe somebody doesn't, okay? But it's your way of doing things. What works for you may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for you. Just saying. All right. So with that said, let's get into Q&A, and let's see what is on y'all's mind today, because that's what live streams are for, guys. It's to hear what you guys want to talk about, not what I decide I'm going to talk about. So let me get to the top, or as close as I can, and there's all 5x5, so I know that's further. So let's see what we got. Prep Rebel says, Pinball, I love the hat. Yes, again, my gift from New Orleans. So when I have a bad hair day, a hat comes into play. And I like this hat, so I don't know. I think it looks good on me. I feel like a mushroom sometimes, but I'm not Irish. It still looks good on me. Matches my beard. Disney App Boiler Up. Did I get my email about green bean questions? Should I cut the flowers off the small plants about 12 inches that are already producing beans until they get taller? I believe I did. I got a green bean question. You guys have to understand, I get a couple of hundred emails a day. I try to get through them all. If there's a question, I try to answer it. If it's just, I'm still getting these emails with just a link to a video. I'm telling you guys right now, if you send me a link to a video, I don't look at it, I just delete it. Unless you tell me what I'm looking for. This is Joe Schmo talking about CBDC and why Nigeria, it failed. Watch between 10:52 and 11:14, then I'll look at it and I'll look for those timestamps. You send me a video link, I delete it. Okay, I don't have time to do that. I believe I replied to your email. I asked you if it was bush beans or uh, pole beans. If they're pole beans, absolutely cut off the flowers. If they're bush beans, that 12 inches is about as high as they're going to get. So you're into production already. So, and that was I never heard a response. So if they're pole beans, cut them. If they're bush beans, you're already producing beans. Pighead water buffalo. I am being run over with tomatoes and potatoes this year. Last year was awful. This year so blessed. Routine rain is awesome. That's not a bad thing, okay? And I will say this. Okay, I'll tell you this part. I was out in the garden today, like I said, picking stuff and cleaning up. I've got more volunteer tomato plants in my garden this year than I can shake a stick at. I mean, they're in between my sweet potatoes. They're up with my cabbage, and I'm just letting them grow. Because the way I look at it is this: if I get an extra couple of tomatoes off of it, fine. Now, I'll throw this one out because this is something that I'm working on for later this week. If you have way too many tomatoes, let's say you have a lot of determinate tomatoes, the ones that all come in at the same time, take advantage of that, guys. Tomatoes in the grocery store are what, $4, $5 a pound? I've said this before with plants. Put a little stand out at the bottom of your driveway and sell your tomatoes for $3 a pound. They're homegrown, organic, ripen on the vine, $3 a pound tomatoes. Make some extra money. If you can can them all, if you can use them all, great. If you got extras, don't let them rot. Get them to somebody else. Maybe you need to buy a couple of new pairs of blue jeans. I don't know, whatever it was. Make $100, sell some tomatoes, whatever it would be. We all bitch about food prices. Use them to your advantage. Everybody else is bitching too. If tomatoes are $5 a pound and somebody sees that you're selling for $3 a pound, I bet you don't have tomatoes too long. So, just saying. Awakened One. Pinball, how are your aloe plants doing? I guess this will answer that question. What aloe plants? Aloe does not grow here. It was so freaking cold this spring. Like I said, it's June. It's 75 degrees. They deader than a doornail. Didn't make it anywhere. So, caveman luck, pinball. Your take on 44 bill? I have no idea what that means, so I can't answer a question. So, no idea what you're talking about. Seth McKinney, how do you stake up cucumber plants? I grow my cucumbers, my pickling cucumbers, whatever, have up concrete mesh trellises. A lot of people use kettle panels or whatever, which work fine as well. Concrete mesh is just cheaper. Yes, it rusts. Okay, don't care. I don't stake them or whatever. When I was out in my garden today, the little can't think what they're called. They're already grabbing onto my kettle panel or my concrete mesh trellis. I just grow them right up a trellis and let them grab on. And every year that does fine. You can put them in tomato cages or whatever it would be. But stakes. I mean, I know people say, "Oh, put T-posts or wooden stakes or whatever it is." That they're not going to help you. You're going to have to tie them that way. They'll grab on to something that's thinner. Put them on a cattle panel or something like that and just let them grow up. They'll do that fine all by themselves. You don't have to spend all the time trying to tie them. Linda Osborne, I have flowers on my potatoes. Does that mean the potatoes are ready to dig up? No, not anywhere close. Okay, my potatoes are flowering, and just let them go off and flower. Believe it or not, guys, potatoes do produce seed, okay? Don't ever waste your time trying to grow potatoes from seed. I'm just saying. You are not going to dig up your potatoes until the plants literally are dead, okay? You may want to start when they're browning up and starting to die off, but the best time to dig potatoes is when the green is brown. Okay, if they're not brown, they're not ready. Comet Moon, Pinball, what's your shirt say, please? You guys always do this to me. Let's see if you can see it here. There we go. Don't confuse my personality with my attitude. My personality is who I am. My attitude depends on who you are. There you go. So it's pretty much my life story. Okay, moving on down. Let's see. Stephen Adams, thank you for the super chat. Just want to say hello from my neighbor prepper in Virginia. Keep up the good work. We didn't quite make the right turn there before the Cumberland Gap Tunnel today, but we almost thought about going into Virginia for a second. So, yeah, probably be up in Virginia sometime this week, at least 10 miles in. I don't know. Just for the hell of it. Let's see. Amy Arsenault, do I eat the beet greens? I am okay with them. Mrs. P doesn't like them. Okay, so sometimes we will. I mean, I just like them stir fried up. You know, it's kind of like spinach when you're eating. The ones today, I picked like 10 beets today. Just they were ready, and so I just cut them off and I threw the tops into the compost pile. I mean, sometimes I'll eat them, everything like that. She doesn't like them, so I'll have it once or twice a year. In an SHTF situation, of course, I'd be keeping them. She doesn't like them, you know. But when you're hungry, you'll eat almost anything. Though I ain't eating bugs. But sometimes I do, but most of the time we don't keep them around the house. War, how's the carrots? The greenery on the carrots is probably 10 inches high at this point. So I'm getting excited. I've probably got, another month or so till I can start pulling carrots, because I think the imperators, at least, I think the germination date on that was 72 days or something. So figure I'm at a month and a half. So I've got about another month to go. So good to go. Brenda H, CPI numbers today. If anybody believed that bullshit, okay, supposedly inflation had this massive drop to down to only 4%. Right. So let me see. We were at what, 6.5 last month, and so we dropped 2.5 points in inflation. I showed you guys, I think it was Sunday afternoon, the food prices, where if you take eggs out, food is actually still up 1.5% for the year. At the beginning of the year, we were at 7.5% inflation. So let me see, food is up 1.5% from the test I do, which you guys have said that your prices are higher. But Joe's going to tell us that inflation's been cut in half. Bullshit. Okay. Used car prices aren't down. I mean, we're looking, tires for a car are double what they were from 2 years ago. Gasoline sure as hell, it's down from its high, but gee, I don't know. Gasoline is still nearly twice as much as what it was when Trump left office. Don't tell me inflation's at 4%. That's the biggest crock I've ever heard. Okay, but hey, you know, we know 2,000 mules was true. Why not do everything else corrupt? Because that's the Joe way. Let's see. Patrick King, learn distillation for fuel and barter. Distillation is a very good skill to have if you can, and exactly what you're saying, you can distill corn or anything like that to make fuel, okay, grain alcohol. You can make moonshine, which in an SHTF event, I bet moonshine is going to be pretty popular, okay. Distilling water, if you want to do something simple, okay, might be an important skill. Distillation is a great skill to learn. It is something that is on my list of things I want to learn how to do. It is not, there's other things that I'm focusing on more about, let's put it this way, feeding myself rather than the water part yet. April Drescher, how do you know if your beets are ready? You will see them, they'll be breaking the soil, okay? And here, give me a second. So here's one of the beats I picked today. Okay, you can see obviously I've cut the tops off. But what you're going to see on the beat, and if you can see closely, this line around the top, that's where it was above the ground. And when they start breaking above the ground, that's when you can get a good gauge of their size. And I mean, if they're this big, maybe you don't want to pick it up. But I mean, this one's a good 2.5 inches around on top. I mean, that's a good size beat. You don't, yes, you can get bigger ones. Not saying you can't. But what you'll find is that beets get bigger, they get woody, okay? They're not as tasty. I personally don't want my beets much bigger than this. This is a good size beet for me. So, but when they start breaking the soil on the top, you can watch them and get ready to pull them because they're close. Prep Rebel, does that mean fishing and target practice in your bow? Fishing, I actually went out and did some fishing. What is today? Today's Tuesday. When did we go fishing? Saturday, I think it was. Maybe it was Saturday. It's Friday. Friday or Saturday, we went fishing for a couple hours. And of course, I haven't used my fishing poles in almost 2 years. And so 3 of my 6 reels were crap. And so I wound up ordering on Amazon some new reels. Okay. And yes, I'm going to be an advocate to say don't waste your money on expensive ones. I bought Zebco reels for under $20. Zebco 33 reels. I'm not a competitive fisherman, okay? But Zebco 33 reels for catching moderate sized fish are all you need, okay? You know, I know, oh, I'm going out and sport bass fishing or striper fishing. Yeah, if you're going to go out and catch a 20-pound fish, that's not going to work, okay? But I've hauled in 4-pound bass on a Zebco 33 before and no problem whatsoever. So, you know, you don't need to have all this expensive gear. You must buy this or you're gonna die stuff. No, okay. Get what works, okay? What's proven quality? Zebco 33 reels, less than $20 a piece, work. Okay, go for it. Misery Prepper, Pinball, you don't rifle train at home, you actually go to the range to train. The reason I don't train at home, okay, I'm on 3 acres. You guys have, maybe you can see, well, no, you can't because the trailer's in the way. See this way? Yeah, if you can see, there's a house to that side of me, so that rules out that. There's a house across the street. There's a house behind me, and sure, granted, they are 400, 500 yards away, okay? But I don't want to risk putting a bullet in somebody's house, okay? Because remember, when you're shooting, you are responsible for wherever that bullet goes, okay? It's not like Hollywood where they go from 20 feet and they go, boom, I shot the guy. You know, well, Hollywood, it's like I take a machine gun and spray 200 rounds, and if one hits them, wherever those other 199 go, in Hollywood, they stop right where the person is. In the real world, they keep going. And so I'm not willing to take the risk of taking a 308 in my backyard, taking a 5.56 in my backyard that'll travel, 500 yards easy, 308 a lot longer than that, and hitting somebody or hitting something, and all of a sudden I'm in jail for it. So at this point, I've got Chuck Swan. You guys don't know where it is, but it's a national forest here. I can go out there and shoot for free, in a controlled range where I can zero rifles and, everything like that. Yeah, if I've got to go hunting, that's a different story. But if I'm going to go zero rifles, no, I'm not going to do it in my front yard. I'm not going to take the risk, It's a safety thing, okay? And as much as I am do everything you got, I want to be here when SHTF starts. I don't want to be one of the ones that's getting out of a jail because the locks don't work anymore. If you want, I don't have 40 acres or whatever that I can shoot on. I got 3. Okay, so. Paladin 1, have I ever noticed a Tesla symbol looks like a uterus? No, I've never really thought about that. Interesting concept, but really don't pay that much attention to it. Mike Luce, wow, my chickens are really cranking out the eggs. Got 36 today. Okay. I hope you guys have a big family. We're a lot of friends. Or I'm going to say this again, a roadside stand at the bottom of the driveway selling eggs. Okay. You know, I mean, what are eggs? Well, that probably, if you could have done it 6 months ago, yeah, 233 for, I think that's what it was the other day, $2.33 for 18 eggs. That's not worth it. Give them to friends. I'm not going to set up my driveway for $2. Sorry. Not worth it. Uh, Brett, aliens in the new thoughts. Yeah. PSYOP. Okay. Taking anything they can do. Let's talk about LGBTQ. Let's talk about Pride Month. Let's talk about, you know, aliens. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Anything we can talk about so we can divert your attention from Joe's at the edge of the cliff because they've got him by the short hairs. Okay. Yeah. It's just, you know, look through all the National Enquirer stuff, okay, the LGBTQ crap, the Bud Light stories, the Dylan Mulvaney's, the 8-foot aliens in Las Vegas, and go, what really affects me? Honestly, does Dylan Mulvaney, you know, acting like a complete mental patient affect you? No. What do? You don't buy Bud Light or any Bud product. Done. Okay. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Don't care what he does. Don't care what everybody tweets about. There's an 8-foot alien in Las Vegas. Do you live in Las Vegas? Then don't worry about it. Okay. What's the economy doing? That's something that might concern me. Gee, what's going on in the Mexican border? Are they shipping illegals to my town? That might concern you. Gee, is there a war potentially on the horizon with China? That might concern me. Okay. I don't care about all the bullshit other stuff. It's funny to laugh at, but it makes no difference in my life. Am I deciding to cut off the family jewels and I'm going to go wear a dress? No. Then I don't care. You know what? As long as I don't have kids in school that are getting groomed or anything like that, it doesn't affect me. Am I pissed about it? Yeah, but I got bigger things to worry about. I want to work. You got to take care of number one before you can take care of somebody else. Von Mousetrap, Mr. P, loved hearing the pups this morning on the video. Made my day. I hope it wasn't the snoring, because the snoring was not the puppies and the snoring was not Mrs. P. So, yes. Cody B, how soon do you think China is going into Taiwan? Yeah, I called today. The part still hasn't come in for the crystal ball, guys. As soon as it does, I promise I'll let you know. Judy Boer, sorry, not leaving. There you go. My McIntyre says hello from Arizona. Country Humans Network, what size of container would you plant sweet potatoes and how many plants? Okay, so you're going to need a big container to plant sweet potatoes in. I wouldn't plant sweet potatoes in anything smaller. If it's a container, you're probably talking at a minimum a 10-gallon pot. 5-gallon bucket's way too small. You have to have 10, at a minimum a 10-gallon pot. Better scenario would be in a kiddie pool, or I've showed you guys a couple of times, and how I do it is I plant them in straw bales. The straw bales is absolutely the way I would do it, but you got to know how to condition the straw bales and stuff like that. So it's a little more to do it. Chances are planting sweet potatoes, I don't know where you live, but you need 125 days, 125 days before your last frost date. So if you live way down south, you're probably fine. If you live anywhere where I am or north of me, you're probably too late. Hillbilly, you should get your bow out and have fun. You will enjoy it. Like I said, Thursday. That's another thing to zero is, get used to the sights and everything like that on it. Yes, Thursday is a shooting day. Tomorrow I got to take my truck to the shop, but that is Thursday is range day. caveman look. My take on resolution 44 vote today, I don't know anything about it. Same question as before. I can't answer you. Uh, Michael Eversberg, there's 37 ways to skin a cat. And you can plead not guilty to all 37 of them. Rain Man Fish, storing gasoline in plastic barrels. Your thought? Okay. As long as the plastic is good for gasoline, I'm good for it. I'm assuming you're talking like 50-gallon drums or something like that, the plastic drums. That's fine. I mean, most 5-gallon cans, gas cans you have are made of plastic. No big deal. The only thing that you got to remember is, and especially if you're buying ethanol gas, the 9010 stuff, the 87 octane or whatever, that stuff's only good for about 6 months. So if you're going to store it, you're going to have to use it. And I've said many times, fill up your gas cans in the spring, use for your lawnmower, your four-wheeler, whatever you got. Fill it up in the fall, use it for your chainsaw, for your snow blower, whatever you need over the winter, and rotate the gas. Anything that you got left, put in the car. Okay. I don't go through 50 gallons of gas a summer. Now, it's not a bad thing. I keep about 30 gallons of gas in storage at any given time. Why? That will fill up my truck. So I usually keep my truck at least 3/4 full. So I could throw 30 gallons of gas in the back of the truck. That means I've got a range of almost 1,000 miles. I can get a third of the way across. I can get all the way to the Atlantic, and I can get all the way to the Rockies with the gas I've got in the truck and then filling it up from the cans. So I could easily get to Mexico. I could easily get to Canada. I've got some range that way. But just remember, when you're storing gasoline, gasoline is not like propane. Propane I could buy now and it'll still be good in 2072. Gasoline won't be good in December of 2024. So, or December of 2023, basically. Just remember that. Have it, yes, but how much are you going to use, and make sure you've got a rotation plan for your gasoline. KS1 Big Dad, just sprayed my potatoes with neem oil and Dawn, little white flying bugs. What do I spray with? I don't really worry about my potatoes because no matter what you do, you're not worried about the green growth on potatoes. Okay. I'm not overly concerned with the above ground growth on my root crops. As long as it's got some so it can photosynthesize, yeah. Now, I mean, you look at cabbage can get totally taken out by cabbage worms. Potatoes aren't going to be like that. You're going to get little holes in potatoes. I've got little holes in my potatoes. I've got little holes in my beets. No big deal, okay? Because what you're more concerned about is the food crop, not the prettiness. Little holes in your potatoes are not going to affect whatsoever the tubers growing underground. So while you did it may be a teeny tiny bit of help to get a little bit more photosynthesis. It's really not necessary. Just let them go. What you got to worry about with potatoes more than anything else is blight, and that's not going to get you little holes. That's going to get you that yellowing, browning, crisping of the leaves. So, but little white flying bugs, you probably have. I wouldn't say. It could be aphids. I doubt it. I mean, that could be a lot of things, but honestly, don't worry about it. Okay, we just shot to the bottom, so we go back to Z top. Let's see where we are. Mike Gibbs, I was told pepper plants are perennials. Is that true? Yes and no, I guess how to put it. You can overwinter a pepper plant, no problem. I mean, your pepper's going to grow up. It's going to be 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, whatever. And at the end of the year, you could dig up your potato plant, cut it down to about 1 foot high, cut off all the branches, so you got a couple of branches, put it in a pot, keep it in the garage or the greenhouse or whatever it is, and plant that next year, and it will continue to grow. it'll do that for a couple of years. Okay, so where people say perennials come back year after year after year. Peppers will come. The pepper's never dying if you do it that way. So therefore, because you're keeping it alive, but the plant will eventually get weaker and weaker. Yes, you can use your pepper plants for second, maybe a third year, but it's for the work that it is, it's really not worth it. Okay, just plant a new one with throw seed in the ground, plant a new one the next year. It's not like you're going to get earlier peppers or something or bigger peppers because you got to prune it back so hard. Sheila, my bestie was selling fencing 3 foot by 50 foot, 5 rolls for $100. She couldn't sell them. I took them. She wanted to give me free. I said no, new fence. I got some. I got. She wanted to give me free. I said no. New fence, got 20 some posts to pull out. Bit got a okay. Yeah, hard to read that. Okay, if you got 3 foot by 50 foot fencing, 5 rolls of it, cool. Use that for tomatoes, peppers, squash, pumpkins, whatever it would be. Good deal. Let's see. My McIntyre, meat prices are obscene. You just noticing now? Okay. Yeah, meat prices. And I've said over and over and over again, it's like they are trying to take the protein away from us. So when you guys see sales on chicken, sales on beef, if you can buy a side of beef, if you can buy a whole hog, do it. Okay. Buy a freezer. I mean, if you can get a 7 cubic foot freezer for about $200. You're going to save that money. That freezer is going to pay for itself so fast that it isn't going to make your head spin. Because the first time you go to the store and see, well, I'll give you this. I did the Sunday thing, and it showed you guys Walmart wants $4.97 for 73.27 ground beef, or 73.27. I was through town today, and one of the stores, Food City here, and I know it doesn't mean squat to most of you, was selling ground chuck 80/20 for $3.97 a pound. Better meat, 25% cheaper. Okay, that'd be worth stocking up. Hey, go buy 20 pounds, go buy 30 pounds of it, and stick it in the freezer. Buy 30 pounds of it, you just saved $30. Gee, now you see that happen with chicken, or you see it happen with pork or something. And the next thing you know is I saved $200. Why? Because you got a $200 freezer that you can put it in. Sandy M. Pinball, my daughter planted horseradish. It looked like string beans. Should it be picked? Horseradish, you're probably not going to be picking until December, okay? November, December. It's horseradish you're picking basically right about the time you get your first freeze. Neuron Web, please review a water distiller when I find a good one. I've reviewed a couple of water purifiers. A water distiller, you basically need a still to distill water. So water purifiers is one thing. A water distiller is, your copper pot distill and whole 9 yards. So, yeah. Chris Rigos, I started 3 months ago making moonshine. Came out great. Whiskey, bourbon, vodka. There you go. There's a way to make some money on the side. Just keep your client list to yourself. Grumpy G, best thing to ferment first to get started with fermentation. Cabbage. Start fermenting cabbage. Cabbage is the easiest thing to learn. You'll start learning your times, how long it takes. You can ferment garlic. That's not hard. I'd say those would be the two I'd start with, cabbage or garlic. Let's see. Ed Kirkpatrick, hamburger meat is $2.75 a pound, but it's Brazilian meat. I'd be fine with that. I think. I mean, in case anybody wants to know where the meat comes from at McDonald's, it's Brazil. Okay. Just telling you, that's all Brazilian beef too. Kentucky Believer, any progress on the ham radio? No, I've had a project. I've had, I can't tell you what it is. I've been working on something all week. So I haven't, I'm still working on chapter 4 in my study guide. I haven't done anything with it in a week. So, Judy, how's the pond fish? I fed them about 3 o'clock this afternoon. They all came swimming up to me. We got maybe about 4 to 6 inches of water with that rain that I was able to put in the pond the other day. I need a heavy rain for 12 hours, guys. And this little sprinkles crap and 5 minutes of downpour isn't doing me squat. I need a big rain. The pond is 2 feet low right now. And I mean, mind you, for a pond that's only 7 feet deep in the deep end, that's low. The shallow end is dry. So, Linda Lowe, what type of potatoes do I plant in Tennessee? I planted Kennebec Whites and Pontiac Reds for the last 2 years, and I only get about half the yield out of the Kennebecs that I get out of the Pontiacs. So this year, the only thing I'm growing is Pontiac Reds because I think they taste better, and I get twice the potatoes out of the Reds than I did out of the Whites. And my goal is to grow food. So if it tastes better and I get more of them, that's a good idea to me. Okay, I don't really care. I mean, you can get the big Yukon Gold potatoes and stuff like that. Potatoes are potatoes. The amount of times that Mrs. P and I have baked potatoes, but the only time we have baked potatoes is if we cook a steak, which doesn't happen often. So it's usually home fries or mashed potatoes or something like that. I don't care if I got potatoes this big. Those make good home fries. Those make good mashed potatoes. I don't want a baked potato that big. I don't eat them that often. Billy Pollard, Zepco 33 Platinum for the win. There you go. Pat Martinez, Zepco 33 is what I always use. Cushnet Mitchell 300. 33 is the bomb. I'm partial to Aqua Drops says I'm partial to the Zebco 202. I've caught a 21-pound snook on one. That's a good fish. 202 was like the next step up from the 33. I mean, it's still, for all intents and purposes, guys, they're beginner reels. They're what you teach kids to fish on. I'm 57 years old and I'm still happy working. And I'm certainly not a amateur. I'm not a professional, but I'm certainly not an amateur fisherman. Kip Russell, I like the Zebco 808 for catfish and the Zebco 33 for everything else. The only problem with the Zebco 808 for catfish I'll give you, but the Zebco 808 is for what is it? You string that with 20-pound line, and I mean most of what I fish for is bluegill and bass, and I don't need 20-pound line to be catching 2-pound fish. A 2-pound bass is a good fish around here. You caught a 1-pound bluegill, I don't need 20-pound line to get to 1-pound bluegill, and that would be damn close to a state record. So no. Oops, how much land do I have? Like I said earlier, 3 acres. So Kathleen Maddox, what are my thoughts on Neuralink and all the AI happenings? That I could go on for an hour on that. I am absolutely 100% against Neuralink, okay? And I think AI is an idiotic idea, and I think it's destined to fail, okay? Sure, it's great for, people say, well, I can say I want this and this and this and this, and, it'll put my grocery list together for me, or, all that sort of. That's not what they're using it for. They're using it for a lot more nefarious reasons. I mean, I told you guys the other day. I mean, there's the scammers are now out there exactly duplicating a voice. Can you imagine getting a phone call from me, okay, supposedly, and I'll say, "Hi, Kathleen, it's Pinball. Hey, can you help me? I'm down the street and I just got a flat tire. The tow truck's going to cost me $35 and I'm out of cash. Can you send me $35 or put your credit card for $35 right now?" And it's my voice. And people are getting scammed out of this like crazy. Welcome to AI. AI is a great scammer tool. There's, I can't find anything that is good. Gee, it'll help kids write college term papers. Well, maybe the kid needs to do the work himself because when we're pumping out graduates, it can't tell, NYU. Where's Washington, D.C.? It's in Washington State. How many states are there? 57. Where the hell did you get that number? That's what Barack Obama told me. I mean, we don't need AI. We need to use this. A lot more of this and a lot less of the computer. Maybe the world would be a little better place. Arizona Prepper Jules, does Mrs. P also shoot? Hell yeah. Yes, she does. She's got her own AR. She's got her own pistols. She's a good shot with all of them. Yeah, trust me, she's well trained in this. And Mrs. P was shooting back when she was in Russia before she met me. So it's not like, she goes, ooh, a gun. It's like, okay, show her different things about different weapons. But yeah, she know which end of the gun the bullet comes out of, how to move it, how to tear down an AR-15 or something like that. Sure, I'd teach her how to do that. But, as for shooting, I didn't have to teach her how to do it. She knows proper stance, she knows proper breathing, sighting, everything like that. We're good. Kevin Little, I'm sending out a self-addressed stamped envelope tomorrow for 2 pinball patches. Hope you still have some left. Good point. I forgot about this earlier. Went to the post office today. These are the envelopes. These are already filled and ready to go back. These will go out in the mail today. So when I was looking at them, there were mostly everybody was from the southeast. Maybe I think there was one from New York or something like that. But I mean, I'm assuming most of you guys, if you're lucky, got it out in the mail on Saturday. Other than that, maybe out in the mail yesterday, and I got the mail today. So yeah, there's not a whole lot here, but I'm still good, guys. We're okay. I've got plenty. Who's your daddy? So what was the snoring? Let's just put it this way. I'm entertaining at the moment. And no, Mrs. P and I aren't having problems. Florida Mama Bear, what do I fertilize my sweet potatoes with? Absolutely nothing. Okay. I do my sweet potatoes in straw bales, completely, high nitrogen to compost the straw bales down. They are in a basic nitrogen straw bale, compost straw bale right now. I don't put anything on them. They get their normal watering schedule with anything that's in the rest of the garden. There's enough fertilizer in there from the compost, the straw composting. It doesn't need anything. I think you guys saw what I had in the way of sweet potatoes last year. I mean, I had that one that was like this big around. Huts John, it may be cheaper and quicker to get a new crystal ball than fix the broken one. Smart ass. All right. Ed, thank you for the super chat and for the Christmas fund. Thank you. Somebody else, I hate doing this. Somebody else popped it in. I can't see it here real quick. Bear with me. Oh, Luke, thank you as well for the super chat. I saw it pop up and then it doesn't show on the top of my screen, so I couldn't see it. But thank you very much, both of you. Let's get back to where we were. And Chris Hill, thank you as well. Hope you like same-sex month and happy Juneteenth, by the way. Love the channel. Gee, anything else you want to help me celebrate right now? That, oh my God, I've got to stop the world so I can celebrate one of those. Throw the other one in there. Nope, won't be selling either one of those. Celebrating either one of those. Thank you. All right, let me get back to the top, see where we got. Okay. Okay, I'm close. Carl Lynn, love my sarcasm. There you go. Keeps me sane. Hillbilly, we used the swimming pool from Dollar Store for sweet potatoes. They're doing great. Yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. A little cheap plastic kiddie pool is, you'd be amazed how much you can grow in a little cheap plastic kiddie pool. It's like the perfect raised bed for small spaces. Chris, thank you again for the super chat for Father's Day. Appreciate that as well. Vinny Brady, last day of work tomorrow and then start packing to move to Tennessee. Well, congratulations Don't know where you're moving from, but I know you're moving to a good place, unless you're going to Memphis. Then you're moving into another shithole, but that's beside the point. I already talked about that. Rick, night before last, we had a hard freeze. Holy shit. Midwest Wisconsin. I lost most of my garden, and it's even worth starting over. Uh, what is this? This is mid-June. I don't know when your last or your first frost date is, but this is where looking at days to harvest on the back of a seed pack happens. You're talking mid-June, so mid-September is 90 days. I got to think up there, your first frost date is probably around October 1st. So anything that you'd want to plant at this point has to have 90 days or less as a days to harvest. Otherwise, you're going to grow. You're going to get all the way to fruiting time, and it's going to freeze. Yeah, you're going to have, because some bean, look for short, quick harvest plants. It's if you just had a freeze, it's probably too early for you to plant things like cabbage. It's too late to plant sweet potatoes. It's too late to plant potatoes. If you can get, a lot of stores right now, the box stores and stuff are doing closeouts on tomato plants and stuff like that. If you can find a pack of tomato plants, it's already got starts in them that are maybe 6 inches high, I'd go for that. At this point, Mountaintop was saying the other day they got 6 plants for $5. Okay, less than $1 a plant at the price of tomatoes. As long as they get 1 pound of tomatoes off of, or 1/3 of a pound of tomatoes off of each plant, they're good. It's beneficial. But yeah, at this point, you almost have to be looking at starts at this point. It's for almost everything. It's too late to plant growing from seed. Original Ossock Pinball is an 8-foot by 16-foot greenhouse big enough to grow veggies for 2 people. Sure, it's big enough to grow veggies for 2 people. It's not going to feed you for a year, but you're going to grow some. Depending on what you're going to grow, and if you play it appropriately, okay. Because remember, I learned this year. I harvested some cabbages today. They were not as big as the ones that I harvested from the test cabbages we grew in January, or when I just built the greenhouse. And now I'm getting the bug pressure. So I learned from now on, I'm starting my seeds for my cabbage in January, and I'm putting them in the ground in February. And that way I'm harvesting them in May, end of April, beginning of May, and that's going to be it. I'm not going to be trying this running till June or something like that, because I'm getting the bug pressure. It's getting too hot. So, same thing there. How are you going to plant? If you've got an 8 by 16 greenhouse, do yourself a favor. Don't grow something like peas. Peas take up way too much space and you get way too little yield. Grow your high yield crops. Grow your sweet potatoes. Grow your potatoes. You're not going to do corn in there, but grow crops that you're going to get a lot of food in a small space. Beets would be something that you could grow. Beans would be that's what I would be focusing on. You don't want to go for the fun stuff. You want to go for the stuff that's going to tons of food in small spaces. Don't put your cucumbers in there. Plant your tomatoes out in pots in the yard when it gets warm, but grow the stuff that you can start earlier in the year or in the winter, and maybe you can actually get a second crop of something in the summer. But the whole point of the greenhouse is to extend your growing season. If it's 80 degrees outside, you don't need a greenhouse. That's what you're trying to grow over the winter in. Uh, Patricia Moses. Hey, Mountaintop, you want to help me answer this question? Help! I have rabbits destroying some of my crops. What trick works? And I know he is up at the top of the hill laughing his ass off right now. Because just like he did yesterday, the trick that works best is a 22. Shoot the damn thing. Uh, Good luck getting rid of rabbits. You know, rabbits don't care about a bone sauce. Rabbits don't care about marigolds. The rabbits just go in and eat and destroy. So you know, a cat, a dog, or a rifle is what, or fencing is what you're going to need to keep rabbits out. Morning light. Your pond. Can I go wading in it, or is it too muddy? Do I eventually plan to swim in it? No, I don't. I don't eventually plan to swim in it. Yes, it is a mud bottom pond. I can wade in it. We can walk in it. That's no problem. And it's clay bottom. I mean, the muck on the bottom is leaves that have sunk or whatever it would be. But it's a clay bottom pond, so it's firm. You're not. It's not like you're gonna put a foot in there and get suctioned in there and not be able to move. Swim in it? No. It's basically for raising fish, for watering gardens, and an emergency water source. That's, you know, it's not a swimming pond. If I want to go swimming, I've got the lake up here, and I can go dive off the dock or dive off a pier or something like that, and off and running, I can go swimming in the lake. RLH R44 is the pistol brace rule. Okay, so the only thing I know about the pistol brace rule is that it was originally shot down for only gun owners of America. Now it's also been shot down for anybody who's a member of the NRA, and that's just going to keep going and everything like that. I mean, the pistol brace rule is idiotic, so it's another one of those laws were written by people who don't know anything about the product that they were making the law for. So, 8:57. We're at the end already. Christ. All right. Sonia Carroll, will putting stable in gas make it last longer? If so, for how long? Okay, so the big thing is with stable, you got to remember you want to, stable will make gas last, it'll make pure gas last longer. What causes the ethanol blend to degrade faster is the ethanol in it. So if you've got pure gas, maybe 12 to 18 months if you've got stable in it. That's about the extent of it. And then you're going to start losing anything out of the gasoline. CCAT, when do you have to take the black-eyed peas off the plant? I do not know. I do not grow black-eyed peas. I can't stand black-eyed peas. So I only grow what I eat, and black-eyed peas ain't one of them. Jeannie Dash, hey Pinball, what are the top 5 crops you would grow in Zone 6, North New Jersey? Well, I'm in Zone 6B, so you're pretty close. I'm assuming you're talking just vegetables. I would absolutely grow sweet potatoes, beans, multiple kinds of beans, whether you want to go green beans, black beans, wax beans, lima beans, whatever it is, beans, because that's going to be a decent protein source. I would grow peppers because, believe it or not, there's more vitamin C in green peppers than there is in an orange. And if I only could grow 5 potatoes, sweet potatoes, either beets or pumpkins, one of the two. Some people don't like beets, some people do, but you want something that's going to get you a lot of sustenance, and you can get a lot of vitamins and a lot of sustenance. So that's what I'm looking for. If you're only to 5, you want to grow high volume, high production crops. Ultra Maga Patriot, do I have any of my patches left, or have they sold? I got plenty. Okay, I don't know what's going to be in the mail tomorrow, Thursday, or whatever. Like I said, and as I said to everybody, if I go through all 200 of these and I've got 300 envelopes, I'll order more. Okay, it'll take a few weeks for me to get them to you, but I'll get them to you. If I get orders for requests for 205 patches, whoever the last 5 are left, I'm just going to send you your money back. Okay, that's it. But if I get a decent enough response, I've got no problem getting more made up. So, but I think my minimum with the company, I think the minimum I have to order is 100. So if I don't have at least 100 more, then I wouldn't be ordering more. And it is 9 o'clock, and I am not getting in trouble with Angry Prepper this week. Okay, so guys, happy Tuesday night. We'll see you tomorrow. Go over to Jason and Angry Prepper. We'll probably see you over there in a little bit. Have a good one. Pinball out.